Alright, boys, there's that shooting stick. Leaves on, that's the best thing since sliced bread for squirrel hunting, okay? Now, it's taller than I am tall. I'm 70.5. This thing's about 72 or 3 inches tall. Fiberglass. I put that V on it. I can shoot off that V with that rifle. Steep angle shots. You see what I'm talking about? A lot of times I'll shoot a squirrel like that right there. Old gun's on this side or that side. Pole, single pole, trying to get on that head. It's not the easiest thing to do all the time, but you get used to it. Now, see that stick leaning up? Now, it's an old clothesline post, but I'm just going to give you a little demo. Here's what can happen to you in the squirrel woods. Do I ever use trees to take rest with? Most certainly. But wonder if the tree won't give you the view. Wonder if I'm standing against this tree right here and I'm looking out up there, but I can't see. But out here, 3 or 4 feet, I can see. You see there? I can be away from that tree. Wonder if the tree that you take rest on has got a big drop below it, around the side of a steep hill. But wonder if it gets a little flatter away from the tree. Again, this here can have an advantage. Okay. You can change the angle with bark on a tree. You see there what I've done? I've changed the angle on that stick. So depending on how far and what the shooting angle is, how tall the tree is a squirrel is in, you adjust it. That's a secret weapon right there, boys, okay? I've been in the woods enough years to know this stick, with some ingenuity employed, can allow you to shoot steadier, longer shots even, steadier with leaves on. Okay, now, sometimes I'll be sitting down and I'll shoot sitting on the ground, and I'm down here holding on this stick, shooting like that in an open field around the edge of a woods line. I've pulled that shit a whole lot. But that's better than having nothing, huh? Shooting a squirrel at 40 or 50 yards, 60. Again, you get used to it. Naturally, you know, you can prod around a squirrel before you start running your hands down there to pick him up to see if that old copperhead or rattler's down there. Crossing rocks and ravines, fences, this thing works well. You would never catch me in the woods without this. Some of you younger folks out there may be saying, yeah, this old fart here, you know, he's old and decrepit. This can help a young person as well, okay? I didn't use one of these when I was younger. I didn't use anything. I just raised that old Anshoes rifle up. Boom! What this stick does is it lets you get set up. Now, you can use this stick standing up on a tree, too. You see? So when they start foraging on the ground and in the trees, you may catch yourself using this standing up more where they're using the ground and the trees at that time. They're sort of a mixed bag, burying nuts. I made this out of a post, one of those tree pruning jobs. I've still got the other half. I used the smaller half that slid inside the bigger half. You see what my hand's done to it? It's wore the paint off. I put a foot on it. I put this V out of one of those Caldwell shooting rests. Put that in there. It's not glued in, it just happened to fit real nice, so I put it in there. I can shoot out of that V too. Now, I've not used this much with that impact air rifle, but I have used it with that old 457 and that 455 CZ, okay, and it works with those. Alright. I didn't pay much for that. Coming down steep hills, going up steep hills, and here's one of the bonuses you get with this stick. No matter if you're young or old, of course, older, you know, you can have trouble going down descents and going up hills. But I can stay quieter in the woods, going on steeper ground up or down with this stick. This stick holds my momentum, my body weight. So as you try to go down a steep place, you don't want to make a lot of racket if you've spotted a squirrel. Or maybe you haven't spotted a squirrel. You don't want to make a lot of noise in the woods. So this allows you to do a controlled descent, and it also allows you to push using your arm strength to help with your legs, where you can go up something steeper faster. You ever notice you can't go up something steep slow? You have to step fast trying to get up something steep, don't you? Well, if you've got this stick behind you, so like, see how I'm holding it? You're pushing. It's helping push your weight up the hill smoother and slower. Not to mention, if something goes wrong, this may be what saves you from busting your ass in the woods and breaking a hip or a damn leg. Would I use this in deer season? Yes. Could I shoot a deer off of this? Well, sometimes you see your best deer walking to where you're going hunting or walking up where you're going hunting. Again, you get used to this thing. Oh yeah, you can put this against a tree on a deer too. Maybe you got one close to you. But again, remember, the tree can have obstructions up here. And there's not another tree for so far. You see what I mean? See, this right here keeps me from having to go find another tree to take rest on maybe. So I can use this, and it's an extension of the tree. So yeah, I can use the tree, but I can use this and get away from the tree. Sometimes a lot of your bigger trees in the woods, that's one thing I'll make a comment about. Taking rest on big old trees in the woods, shooting squirrels, I don't like to do that, okay? I'd rather have this against it and shoot off of this. I like taking rest on trees in the squirrel woods, trees that are about 6 inches up to about 12. A big old 18, 21, 30-inch diameter trunk tree, no. Don't want to be around one of them trying to take rest with a rifle if I can avoid it. I'll use this instead against it. And a lot of times those bigger trees, if you're trying to sit down around them, what do they have? Around the base of the tree protruding, you'll see some big old roots sticking up. They're hard on your ass when you sit down. You put this right here in there, and it might get you out here far enough away from the worst part of the roots. Yeah, I've seen that a whole lot. Yeah, that's a real invention there, boys. You see that? I don't know if anybody else packs anything like that in the woods. I've had some people see this and they laugh. Well, I'd never carry that in the woods. I never could get through them. Well, if you can't get that stick through the woods you're hunting in, maybe you need to go find you some different woods, okay? Yeah, you can leave where you can't see the ground real good with this, you know, trying to get that old rattler, that copperhead to move or something so you can see him. Before you cross a big log, you can run this stick over there to see what happens. Or even on the side you're on, run that stick. Snakes are hard to see. Rattlesnake's easier to see coiled up than he is stretched out in the woods. They don't always rattle either. I got on a bucket in 1985. Coiled up, he never rattled. I got close to that snake under a little bitty part of a treetop that it fell out in the right-hand rut of a log road. I was told the night before, I was familiar with this area, but they had killed a lot of snakes out in this cornfield that year. And I was told to watch it back there. Well, I found one. Woods was full of squirrels that morning too, and after I lowered the boom on that damn shot, that's probably the last time I took a shotgun to the squirrel woods, 1985, a 16 gauge. I went to the truck after I seen that rattlesnake. That was the end of that hunt. That's going to conclude the video.